And we are back to 55th International Biel Chess Festival. We are having here with us Vincent Keymer, who has just finished his game against Bogdan Daniel Diak with a draw. Peaceful result again?
Yeah, but I would say not that peaceful game also. I mean, it was a very weird position, I would say, because, you know, he surprised me in the opening and I was not too happy with what I did. But yeah, at least this b6 idea was interesting. I'm pretty sure white should be a bit better after that, but we got to like a very complicated position.
This opening, did he surprise you? Or?
Yeah, I think here like d4 is most important here. Yeah, it's kind of weird, yeah, that normally, I mean, knight c6 I thought I shouldn't play because then simply I can't get out. d5, of course, I could prepare with c6, but then he can go d4, e, d4, knight d4. If I wait with rook e8, then he will go g3. So I was not so sure what to do and decided to play b6, which, yeah, I mean, I was not too happy with this move, but I also thought it's interesting. So yeah, d4, I thought it's like very logical. And yeah, I think I shouldn't take on g2, like rook g1, bishop h3. I thought about it for some time because I stopped knight f5, but simply e4, and then I don't know, bishop h3 is threatening, queen is coming.
Too dangerous.
Yeah, probably just lose very quickly. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe I can start with rook e8, castle, and knight c6. What exactly are the differences? But I don't know. I was not too afraid of this. I thought it should be kind of fine. And I was always trying to make knight a5 work. Let's say the idea to press against the c4 pawn in combination with some d5. So I think the issue is that if I go d5 immediately here, he will just play b4 before taking, and then I don't have knight b3. So I was trying queen e6, because then b3, d5, b3 would be hanging. But here I was considering knight b5, a6, he can't take because of queen c6. But yeah, now knight d4, and then b4 will be coming, and I wasn't very happy about this. And I think pretty much the same also goes for this position, like knight f5, still the same things work. So that's why I went to e5. And yeah, of course, like if he gets f3, e4, and I will be in quite serious trouble. I mean, then all my pieces are kind of dead, and this bishop will be huge. So I understand the f3 move, but it's also, I mean, I had this c6. I'm not sure whether he overlooked it, but I think it's an interesting idea at least. I mean, now I would give check and go bishop a6, I attack, and then my queen would get out via h4, and I think now it's like these pieces are weird, and suddenly for me everything is
yeah, and you have quite some ideas on the king side.
So yeah, queen a4 was also the move I was trying to calculate.
Instead of e4, yeah.
And initially I wanted to play d5 here, but for some reason I thought he has to take, but of course he can take on a7 first, which is what I kind of forgot. I mean, this is what I spent quite some time on, cd5 and knight d5. So he can't take. Okay, he actually can, but I think something like knight c3, rook d1, it looks very shaky, so I thought he would take. And queen a7. And this is also kind of tricky. I mean, I can't trap immediately, but it feels like I have some ideas. For example, I could play d4. And now he can't take because of knight c6. And this is, I mean, here I thought like something will go wrong normally. Even knight f3 should already be at least a draw. Rook d6, rook g6, queen h4, I don't know. But he also had the opportunity to start with bishop b5 here. That's different. Yeah, I have to move, which I don't really like. Now the same thing doesn't work. Like e4 now I can play, otherwise there was knight c6. And now here I was considering rook d6 as a move, which looks weird, but I threatened rook a8 to trap the queen. And let's say here I think I can start sacrificing. So that's kind of what I was busy with, and I was not so sure whether it worked, but yeah, simply queen a7 immediately, and I think I'm just worse. Like I calculated a lot, but maybe just queen a7 was a good move, which was why I then played a5. And of course here, this was like the main move I had to calculate, because b6 is to take, queen c5, there's knight a4, bishop a6 I have to play, and then f4, knight g4, queen b6, knight e3, and I think here everything works for me. Like I always have knight c2, and I don't lose any kind of pieces. So b4 surprised me, but I mean, it's interesting move actually, it's just that didn't really come to my mind, and to go with queen b4. But I just think what I did in the game actually was kind of okay, like bishop a6, rook b1, queen c5. I mean, should maybe be like a tiny little bit better, because he has the opponent, of course, the bishop is kind of nice, at least potentially, but you know, I couldn't really believe that I would be in trouble. Maybe I should just take and play knight c4, but like my point was that I was not sure whether I wanted to allow him to play rook a6, because it's an interesting question whether I actually want to exchange one pair of rooks or not, and I thought it's potentially dangerous to do so, which is then why I decided not to play rook a8, but I'm not sure this was such a good idea. It's just that. Also, I was already not thinking that it would be like that dangerous for now. Yeah, before I had like a weird position. I knew that b6 probably wasn't the best move in the opening, but here I already felt that, you know, if I'm not messing up something big, I should be kind of fine. Yeah, and then here we have this kind of weird position after.
Takes.
Yeah, I mean, knight f5 I have to play, I think. So rook c8, bishop d3, rook d3. And now it's like I have no move, but it's also hard for him to make any. So the reason why I played king h7 at some point was it's a knight c4, knight d5, and knight e5. And on knight f6 I would take g of 6 and then rook c1, knight d3, but he has knight e7 check. Yeah, and so if the king on h7, the same thing would even be winning for me. But I thought if I go for king h7 immediately, he might just go bishop e3 and sacrifice this pawn. And okay, with rook b7 could at least be dangerous. Probably it's fine, but yeah, we were also getting rather low on time, so I played some move. And now I was actually not so sure what I would do after king e1 if he just tries to bring the king. But of course, I always have some possibility to give the d5 pawn and take a3, and I should be kind of fine. But yeah, king e1 was a little bit annoying. g4 also I didn't like too much. King h7, h4, knight c4. Yes, we just showed. Yeah, knight d5 doesn't work, but knight e2. And now again, I would need some good move. Yeah, and it's because the weird thing is that I think I should have like a few moves that are kind of fine, but there's no clear way, and I also don't want to get into trouble. Yeah, so especially we also still have few moves remaining.
Yeah.
And I think here he was very close to just playing g5 and taking this d5 pawn. But okay, then here after knight c4, suddenly he can't protect the second rank. I will come with rook e6, and I think he just realized that this could even potentially be dangerous. So yeah, I think this was kind of the way he also thought, let's be safe. And just for me, it's the issue that exactly now the knight is, I mean, he can't trap it, but also I need to get it out somehow. And of course, if I run into knight d4 and king e3, it can be tricky. And yeah, I don't know why I played g6 here. It was more like a panic reaction on like, I don't know, 4 seconds, making some move. And also it's not too bad, yeah, but for some reason I was just after before the that he will go with g5 and knight f6, rook c8, which is kind of a mate threat, but of course I think the position is too equal to actually mess something big up. I mean, then here.
But still, when you're playing these last seconds, it was a little bit tense.
Yeah, not to play g6, it's just. Yeah, I think for both of us it was the case, yeah, that we thought, okay, it's kind of equal the position, but it's not easy to find the most precise moves, and especially for me, if I don't make the most precise moves, I might suffer a bit. And, you know, starting to suffer, especially if I have like 5, 6 moves to go, can be very unpleasant. And yeah, I mean, okay, this is more like, yeah, he's testing me for a few more moves, but I mean, with 2 against 1, it's kind of no real way to ever win this. And
absolutely.
I mean, as soon as I then, like, kicked him out of f6, he then also, we agreed to a draw.
So at which moment of the game were you really like worried about your position?
Mostly in the opening, actually. Yeah. And then as soon as I played c6, I felt kind of my counterplay coming, and then in the end, I'm not sure if we missed something in this endgame. It's totally possible, but at least I didn't see something huge there.
How is the time control for you? I mean, since you got into this time travel, how were you feeling, and why were you writing down the moves?
Yeah, I mean, I think writing down the moves is just kind of the natural thing.
Yes.
We're not too great of an idea, but yeah, I mean, in general, the time control is. I mean, it's the same time as with 1 hour 40 and the 30 seconds, but you simply don't have this rhythm. So.
Because you're just surprised us because you have like 10 seconds on the clock and you're writing down the move, or.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that this is the natural reflex. Yeah, that normally you always have to write, and I think this is only the second tournament in my life I played in this time control, for, or at least in a very long time. Yeah. So it doesn't come that natural, and also I've never been in that big time trouble that I stopped writing down the moves. Yeah, as I remember in Düsseldorf when I played this time control, there was also one game between Pragnanda and Giri where they were also in crazy time trouble, and I think they had to, for 20 moves, they had to do with like very few minutes. Yes, so it happens sometimes if the position is extremely complicated. Yeah, I think this position was not that dramatic, so it's kind of possible even to make some side mistakes and still it will be fine.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing the insight of the game, and I wish you good luck in the next round.